Right now, 60 flood warnings are active across England. 60. And most people watching this have no idea their area is on that list. Tonight, Saturday, the 7th of February, 2026, a massive low-pressure system is sitting directly over the United Kingdom, and it is not moving. What happens over the next 12 hours could catch millions of people completely off guard. If you live anywhere in Britain, you need the next 15 minutes. I am about to break down exactly when the worst conditions hit your city, hour by hour, region by region. And at the 5-minute mark, I will reveal which 3 cities face the most dangerous conditions tonight. One of them will surprise you. Stay with me. Before we dive into your city, let me give you the big picture. A powerful cyclonic system is locked over the United Kingdom right now. Atlantic frontal systems are pushing inland one after another, but here is the twist. A stubborn area of high pressure to the northeast is acting like a wall. These rain bands are slamming into that wall and slowing down. Instead of passing through quickly, the rain is stalling over the same areas for hours. Western regions are getting hammered hardest. Some areas have already absorbed over 40 millimeters of rain in 24 hours, and the ground cannot take anymore. Every extra drop has nowhere to go except onto roads, into homes, and across fields already underwater. In the north, as temperatures plummet, that rain is turning to snow above 300 meters, flooding in the south, ice in the north. This is a weather event affecting the entire country simultaneously. Now, let me take you through this city by city, and I mean specific temperatures, specific wind speeds, specific timing. If you want to know exactly when conditions peak in your area, keep watching. Drop a comment below with your city or town, and I will make sure your area gets covered in the next update. Let us start with London. The capital is sitting under thick grey cloud that is not breaking anytime soon. The daytime high reached 11 degrees Celsius, but temperatures are sliding back to around 7 degrees this evening. 7 degrees does not sound terrible, but the combination of persistent dampness and gusty winds makes it feel significantly colder. The Met Office has described conditions as murky with outbreaks of rain. Drizzle and light rain will continue stubbornly with heavier bursts at intervals. Winds between 10 and 21 miles per hour. Not dangerous, but sharp enough to cut through you outdoors. Critical timing for London. After 9 o'clock, visibility drops significantly. Fog patches will form in lower-lying areas along the Thames Basin. If you are driving through East London, the Docklands, or anywhere near the river after 9, fog lamps on and speed right down. The yellow rain warning remains in force, meaning localized surface water flooding is possible. Check tube services, especially overground sections and suburban bus routes, before heading out. The overnight low stays around 7 degrees, so at least no ice on top of everything else. Moving southwest now, and this is where things get serious. Plymouth. If there is one city tonight where I would not want to be caught unprepared, it is Plymouth. Temperature similar to London, about 11 degrees, but the temperature is not the story. The story is the rain. The southwest, Devon, Cornwall, Dorset, Somerset is absorbing the heaviest rainfall in this entire weather event. Band after band of heavy rain sweeping directly off the Atlantic, and the ground is already completely saturated. The flood risk is not theoretical. It is happening. Those 60-plus flood warnings are concentrated heavily across Western England. Gusts could reach 20 to 25 miles per hour. If you live in the southwest, check right now whether your property sits within a flood risk zone. Visit checkforflooding.service.gov.uk tonight. Now, here is what I promised you at the 5-minute mark. The 3 cities facing the most dangerous conditions tonight. Number 1 is Aberdeen, number 2 is Plymouth, and number 3, the one that surprises most people, is Sheffield. I will explain exactly why Sheffield is on this list in just a moment, but first let me continue working north. Cardiff, the Welsh capital, 10 degrees during the day, dropping to between 5 and 7 degrees tonight. Wales as a whole is under a yellow rain warning, and South Wales has already taken an absolute beating this week. Tonight offers no relief whatsoever. The southwesterly airflow is drawing moisture directly off the Atlantic and dumping it across Cardiff and the surrounding valleys. Rainfall accumulations could reach 15 to 30 millimetres widely, and across the hillier terrain in Western Wales, totals may exceed 40 millimetres. That is a staggering amount of water on ground that is already waterlogged. Roads in Cardiff and the valley communities face localised flooding tonight. Spray from passing vehicles will slash visibility. If you are driving through South Wales, reduce your speed and switch on fog lamps. Bristol, just across the channel, is in identical conditions. 9 degrees falling to 5 overnight, persistent rain, light to moderate winds. Right now, the Midlands. Birmingham, 8 degrees during the day, falling to between 3 and 4 degrees tonight. Both the West Midlands and East Midlands are under yellow warnings. Birmingham is not getting the relentless downpours that Plymouth is enduring, but do not let that fool you. The ground here is waterlogged. Drainage systems are under enormous strain. Even modest additional rainfall could trigger localized flooding, and flood alerts are already active for the Birmingham area. Residents near rivers and canals in low-lying spots should remain vigilant tonight. Coventry, Leicester, and Nottingham are all in the same position. Temperatures between 4 and 8 degrees, heavy cloud, intermittent rain. Do not drop your guard in the Midlands tonight. Now, Sheffield. And this is why Sheffield made my list of the 3 most dangerous cities tonight. Sheffield sits right on the edge of the Peak District, and temperatures here are markedly colder than the south. Just 5 degrees right now, falling to 2 or 3 degrees this evening. Here is the twist. At that temperature on the western hills above 300 metres, the rain is turning to sleet, a mixture of rain and wet snow. That means roads through the Peak District passes could become treacherous after dark as temperatures continue dropping. You have got wet roads that are borderline freezing. That is the most dangerous combination for drivers. Yorkshire and the Humber are under a yellow warning. Leeds is not much better either. 6 degrees by day, 4 degrees overnight, patchy rain, moderate winds. If you are travelling through the Peak District tonight, I cannot stress this enough. Slow down, allow extra stopping distance, carry a blanket and a torch in your car. Manchester next. And a tiny piece of good news. The chance of rain here on Saturday is actually lower than most other parts of the country. Do not get too excited though. Thick cloud and light drizzle will persist. 10 degrees by day, dropping to 4 overnight. Winds 9 to 22 miles per hour. There is even the faintest possibility of a brief clear spell during late afternoon before cloud thickens again. Salford, Bolton, Oldham share the same outlook. Predominantly cloudy, occasional drizzle, cool but above freezing. Liverpool, 6 to 8 degrees by day, 5 after dark. 60% chance of rain, expected totals around 3.3 millimetres. Winds on Merseyside are noticeably stronger due to coastal exposure, 12 to 25 miles per hour. A damp, breezy, thoroughly typical winter evening beside the Irish Sea. The whole northwest remains under a yellow warning. Now we cross into Scotland, and this is where the weather story becomes genuinely dramatic. Do not skip this section, even if you live in England, because what is happening in Scotland tonight will affect conditions further south over the coming days. Edinburgh, Scotland's capital. 7 degrees by day, dropping to 5 overnight. Appreciably colder than London, and the wind chill makes it feel colder still. Edinburgh sits exactly where cold Scandinavian air pushing in from the northeast meets milder Atlantic air. That clash is creating sharp instability. This evening, thick cloud with intermittent rain and a northeasterly breeze drawing moisture off the North Sea will make showers heavier along the eastern coast. If you are walking the cobbled slopes of the Old Town tonight, wear sensible footwear with proper grip. Those surfaces will be treacherously slippery. Glasgow, 5 degrees during the day, and this is the key number, potentially falling to between 0 and 2 degrees overnight. When bands of rain push northwards, snow is possible on higher ground around Glasgow above 300 metres. There is a small positive. Northwestern Scotland may see occasional clearer spells compared with the rest of the country, but with temperatures potentially touching freezing by midnight, bridges, overpasses, and metal surfaces could begin to ice up. Driving in and around Glasgow after dark requires particular caution tonight. Aberdeen, the Granite City. And here is why Aberdeen tops my danger list tonight. Just 4 degrees during the day, falling to between 1 and 2 degrees overnight, making it one of the coldest cities in the entire country. Aberdeen sits in a brutally exposed position, taking the full force of an easterly wind laden with moisture from the North Sea. The Met Office has identified northeast Scotland as one of the areas receiving the heaviest rainfall in this entire weather event. Rain at lower levels, snow on the heights across the Grampian Mountains, persisting through the entire night. Visibility will be poor from rain and sea fog combined. If you are anywhere near the A90 or A96 through Aberdeenshire, check conditions thoroughly before travelling. On the higher tops, the Cairngorms, further centimetres of snow will accumulate overnight. Dundee on the banks of the Tay, 7 degrees by day, 4 degrees overnight, 80% chance of rain, expected totals of approximately 4.3 millimetres, winds 11 to 21 miles per hour. Central Scotland, Tayside and Fife will be damp, cold and breezy through the night. Inverness, the gateway to the Highlands, 3 degrees during the day, and tonight temperatures will touch freezing. The Highlands and the Western Isles are where snow on higher ground is entirely plausible. Mountain passes like the A9 over Drumocta and the A82 through Glencoe could be affected by snow and ice. Curiously, the Northwestern Highlands may actually prove to be the driest part of the entire country tonight. But the cold is very real. Temperatures could drop to -1 or -3 degrees on exposed higher ground. If you are anywhere in the Highlands, you need proper cold weather preparation. Jumping back to England, Newcastle. 5 degrees by day, falling to between 2 and 3 degrees tonight. Newcastle sits right on the boundary between milder air from the south and colder air spilling down from Scotland, creating particular instability. Rain may turn to sleet on higher ground around Northumberland by midnight. A raw northeasterly wind off the North Sea adds a bitter edge. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, and the coastal towns are all damp, cold, and exposed to brisk winds off the sea, Northern Ireland. Belfast. 5 degrees officially, though temperatures could reach 9 before falling to 3 overnight. A band of rain will track across Northern Ireland, bringing moderate to heavy falls through the night. The Mourne Mountains to the southeast and the Sperrin Mountains to the northwest may see snow on their summits. Rural roads across Northern Ireland, particularly those crossing hilly terrain, could become slippery and hazardous after dark. Let me quickly cover the south coast. Brighton, 9 to 10 degrees, appreciably warmer than the north thanks to the English Channel, but the sea breeze and persistent drizzle make the seafront miserable. Portsmouth, 9 degrees, yellow warning for heavy rain. Hampshire has seen significant flooding already this week. Southampton, 11 degrees by day, 6 overnight, persistent rain. Oxford and Reading in the Thames Valley, both facing a murky, drizzly night. Reading has an 80% chance of rain with accumulations of 5.7 millimetres and winds of 16 to 30 miles per hour, noticeably stronger than most locations. Both cities sit within the Thames Basin and should remain alert to surface water risk. And Blackpool on the northwest coast. 7 degrees by day, 4 overnight. Sea winds off the Irish Sea will be keen, and anyone fancying a stroll along the famous pier should expect lively gusts and plenty of salty sea spray. Now let me bring this all together with the information that matters most. Here is your overnight summary. The south will be milder but wetter. The north will be colder with snow risk on higher ground. London, 7 to 11 degrees, persistent drizzle, fog after 9. Cardiff and Bristol, 5 to 10 degrees, heavy rain. Birmingham, 3 to 8 degrees, intermittent showers. Manchester, 4 to 10 degrees, occasional drizzle with possible brief clearer spells. Liverpool, 5 to 8 degrees, windier. Sheffield and Leeds, 2 to 6 degrees, sleet possible on the hills. Newcastle, 2 to 5 degrees, raw easterly wind. Edinburgh, 5 to 7 degrees, rain and wind. Glasgow, 0 to 5 degrees, frost possible. Aberdeen, 1 to 4 degrees, heavy rain and hill snow. Inverness, touching freezing. Belfast, 3 to 9 degrees, persistent rain. The flood situation remains critical. The Environment Agency has dozens of warnings active across England. Rivers are running high. Groundwater levels in Dorset, Wiltshire and Hampshire have reached alert thresholds. The Avon Valley, the Piddle, the Stour and numerous smaller watercourses across the Wessex region are all experiencing groundwater flooding right now. If you live in any of these areas, visit checkforflooding.service.gov.uk tonight. And will Sunday be any better? I am afraid not. The Met Office extended outlook shows unsettled weather continuing well into next week. Further rain-bearing fronts approaching from the Atlantic. Western and southern areas remain most at risk. Snow remains possible when colder air masses filter south. Strong winds may feature. Here is what I need you to do right now. Drop a comment with your city or town below. I read every single one, and your location helps me prioritize which areas to cover next. If you have elderly relatives or neighbors living alone, give them a ring tonight. Make sure they have heating, food, and medication sorted. Charge your phone, keep a torch handy. Tomorrow's forecast is looking even more complex. A second weather system is approaching from the Atlantic that could intensify flooding in areas already struggling. I will have the full breakdown city by city with exact timing. Do not miss it. Stay warm, stay safe. I will